Net for 160. This is N4LQ calling CQ the Old Friends Net, which meets here every night at 8 p.m. Monday through Monday. On 1864, anybody that can run AM is welcome to check in. If you'd like to do so, give me a call now.
KN4R. KO4SSY.
KO4CTM.
WB4NKL.
All right, recognizing KN4R, KO4SSY, KO4CTM, and WB4NKL. Do we have any further check-ins? Call now. My goodness, I guess the Raleigh Raiders are all back home now. But tell us all about your escapade and what you brought back with you from out east. Looks like it's going to be a nice evening here. It's going to get down in the 36, I think, here in Shelby. There's a freeze warning out. I'm not sure why. Maybe that doesn't apply to us. But I would imagine Cliff and them probably up there are going to be seeing some Mr. Frost. KN4R, N4LQ.
Yeah, okay, Steve. There's the group. Good evening. KN4R, Brian, Cheryl's Ford, and hello, Billy, and Jim, and Cliff. And Jim, it was great seeing you at the fest, and also John, and Cliff also. So it was I thought it was a good fest. And Steve, the best thing I brought home was a 3500. What is it? Hold on. It's the LK 500 ZC. I'm sorry, and it's got two 3500s in it, and it had well, I can't even talk tonight. It had a QSK board in it, but he took it out, but he hasn't put the relay back in there, and so anyway, but it was very inexpensive, so that was good. 70 and a really strange RCA receiver, an ACR 155, which is really kind of like the ugliest receiver I think I've ever seen. So, but anyway, the fest was really good, and yeah, I figured out how to get from Raleigh back home without getting on I-77 and I-40 and I-85 and all the main racetrack roads. I took 64 west, then 49 going back down toward Concord, and then 152, which cuts over through China Grove, and then 150 on home. So it was so relaxing to go home that way, as opposed to the being on I-40 with all the other crazies. So anyway, Billy, over to you. I hope you're feeling better. KO4SSY in the group, KN4R.
KN4R in the group, KO4SSY returning. Well, good evening to you, Brian. Well, at least when I went through and looked at them pictures, all that stuff that I would have been interested in, I know where it's at now. I wish there was some other stuff too. Looked like that early model. Looked like it was a pretty good faster. Sure did. Where the Clip might have ended up with the rest of that stuff. I feel quite a bit better on it. got a lot of nasal and still my ears are still stopped up. I'm going to try to get some alcohol in them tonight and see if we can kind of clean them out. I spent the day fiddling with the sawmill, run it, cut up quite a bit of lumber and stuff up today. Of course, started finding all the problems with the mill that needed to be fixed. Whoever had it before, Jerry rigged up, this, that, and the other, so that kind of went sideways there about dinner. Had to chase down the parts to fix it and get it all fixed back up, and I think I finally got everything back right this evening, so it'll be another day. It'll go a little smoother, I hope. So that's kind of a day here. I got a skin up shin bone, good and bloody, and well, Brian, you know, you rubbing off on me, a sprained wrist or something. My wrist has hurt so bad I can't hardly stand it. The joys of growing older. I guess that's the way it goes. Over to you, Jim. KO4CTM, KO4SSY.
KO4SSY in the group. Very good, Bill. Glad you're feeling a little better anyway. Hate you having wrist problems. I struggle with my hands and my wrists from time to time, especially if I go out and do too much manual labor. working out here splitting wood or something. I usually pay for it a day or so later. Very good to hear everybody. Good copy on everybody. Brian, good to see you today at the fest, and Cliff as well. Cliff, I didn't really get to say adios to you there, but you know, we loaded up and John is like ready to go. So I didn't take time to come back in and say 73 to you, but it's good to see you. I enjoyed talking to you and seeing you, Brian, as well as the other fellas there, and started my day off by having a flat tire. I blew a tire going to John's house this morning at about 6:05 in the morning, and fortunately it blew out like I don't know, maybe 30-40 yards from his driveway. So I was able to get into the driveway there and pull it up on the side of in the grass and get it out of the way, and then we were able to carry on and get to Raleigh. But had to come back and get I didn't have a spare with me, so I had to come back to the house and get the spare and take it out there and put it on the truck and get it back home. Came back home from Raleigh with a Globe Champion 300A. It powers up, but there's no grid current, so not sure exactly what's going on with it. It powers up and everything looks good. It just the push to talk works, all that good stuff, but there is no grid current, so I don't know if it's something to do with the VFO, or I tried a crystal too, and neither one of them works. So I'm not sure. I may have to defer to the experts here and see what somebody else thinks, but we'll figure it out and see what happens. But that's what I came home with. I think John came home with something else, and I can't even remember what that is. But he got it off of Brian's table there, so maybe Brian can fill us in. But anyway, that's my story for the day. So on to you, Cliff, WB4NKL, KO4CTM.
Yeah, KO4CTM, it's WB4NKL. Okay, Jim, yeah, it's good to see everybody. Enjoyed it. Good to see you today, and Brian, and eating supper with you last night. Had a good time. That was a 5100B that John got from Brian. B&W 5100B, so another transmitter, another heavy one that John said he wasn't going to buy any more of. We good deal on the transmitter, Jim. Sounds like your low voltage transformer's good, so that's good news. I guess the next step would be to get out a scope or an RF voltmeter or a DC voltmeter, start checking voltages on the driver tubes and everything leading up to the grids. See if you got any RF out of the VFO. If you got a good scope, you can see that on the scope, or you can hear it on the nearby receiver too. As you tune, you can hear if you're generating a VFO signal. I didn't pick up a whole lot. I had a prearranged deal with JP. I picked up a GPR 92 kit radio that we've been talking about for about 2 years, and he finally brought it, and I've got it in a box, and he's redone the front panel and had the transformer rewound, but he never did get it all back together. And he's not sure if he got all the parts or not, but he said to contact him if I was missing anything. So that's another little project. Picked up a new old stock D104 cartridge. Guy said he bought it new back in the day and set it up on his shelf there in his radio shop, and decided he never was going to use it, so he brought it. So I got a new one for $10, just the cartridge, and I've got some heads that needs a cartridge. And I thought, well, maybe it's gone to the bad, but I looked at it on a scope here a minute ago, and it's got, looks like good output, so should have another good D104 head. I picked up a Gonset G76 with a homebrew base supply and a mobile supply. And it was cheap and rough, but I was really interested in the mobile supply. I had never seen one, and it looks in pretty good shape. So I think that's all that I ended up with. But had a good time. Mark, I think he beat us all in buying stuff. He ended up with I guess with the biggest pile when we got back. So and Chuck, as usual, he didn't buy much, but we did do some selling over there. I sold the SB201 Heath kit that this friend of mine's I was going to sell for him, and I got it sold and got some money for him. So send it on around. I think back to Steve, maybe N4LQ, SWB4NKL.
Okay, got anybody else that'd like to check in? N4LQ listening.
W4JPL.
There he is. Hello, John. Go ahead and make one. Back to me.
All right, well, good evening, boys and girls. W4JPL here. Long day. Went to the Hamfest, and I think Jim and I had a blast. It was good to see Cliff and Brian and Mark and some other people I know. Yeah, I picked up I don't know why, it's a disease, but I picked up a 5100B. I had one 40 years ago, rather, and I saw it, and Brian was telling me how much I needed, but this is why Jim is dangerous. Because I'm sitting there, I'm moving in a couple weeks, and Jim's like, you need to buy it, you need to buy it, you need to buy it. So he's not a good influence on me. I don't know what to do with him. So I bought it. I managed to buy a couple plugs, and Cliff, thank you very much, found me a plug for my PMR7. So I'll be able to clean that up and eventually build a cable for that. And I bought a microphone. It looked like a Heathkit style desk mic. $10 for it. It's like, okay, whatever. I took it home, and the guy had his call sign on the base of the mic, and one of those old Dymo markers or whatever they call it, you know, things you used to press out and press letters on it. I took that off, and there it is, Heathkit. So for $10, I got a Heathkit desk mic that'll go very nicely with my Hot 101s. And I got the speaker too somewhere else, so I'll put all that together after I move. Last thing I did was I went on my getting ready to leave. There was a fluke set up there, So I was like, ooh, fluke. So the cheapest meter they had was $200. And I was like, you know, I'd really like to have a fluke, but not today, not that much. So that was my stash for the day of stupid things I didn't need. Over to you, Steve. W4 JPL.
Okay, very good. Anybody else want to check in? This is N4LQ. Boy, what a round. That's a lot to cover. I got texted today by, I don't know, there's a bunch of people involved in it, Chuck, and I don't even know who the other numbers were, but somebody said, was Mark a good boy, which I guess was W4 WWC, and Chuck said, who are you kidding? He hid my clothes before we left the Hamfest. You need to straighten him out. I've been trying to figure that out. He hid my clothes before we left the Hamfest, or is that before we left for the Hamfest? And I'm wondering if Chuck ended up with clothes on. So that needs to be addressed. And let's see. Flat tire, yeah, boy, that's Jim. Well, at least you came home with a new transmitter, and I hope you got that tire fixed so it can handle the extra weight. Golly. So we had a 5100 go home to John and a Globe Champ 300. That's some heavy iron. No grid drive. First of all, make sure there's some grids in there. Make sure it's got a final. I don't know. I'm sure you've already done that, though. Let's see here. And good deal, Cliff, on the new D104 cartridge that has never been spoken to in its life, and I'm sure it's relieved. Speaking of that, I swapped out the D104 for a powered D104 on this Russian transmitter. And to me, it sounds a lot better. I don't know. It's the problem was I was trying to feed a straight crystal mic into the input of this thing, and it's a relatively low impedance input, and that was just snuffing it out. So the powered mic is a lower impedance, and I think it overcomes the issue. So we'll see what the report sounds like. And running about 250 carrier power right now. So Brian, that's good on the amplifier. So no relay at all? Or is it just not installed? And they took the QSK out, which usually what's happening. That's what happened to my Ameritron here. It had the AL1200 had the QSK board in it. It finally blew up, so I got rid of it. That's a tough apple, man. I'll tell you what, QSK when 1500 watts is asking a lot, but it can be done with relays. Pin diodes are okay, but they're a bit of a risk. Anyway, I've had a good day here all by myself. The daughter left for Raleigh, headed back home, and XYL, she took a nap, so I took a hike and walked up the road toward the main road and headed over in the woods, and I walked for about a mile into the woods, jumped over a creek. I mean, it was a roaring creek too, and I tell you what, it was beautiful back in there. Got my way back home and safe and sound. So that was a good walk. KN4R, N4LQ.
Okay, Steve, very good. N4LQ in the group. KN4R. Well, terrific. Congratulations on your walk. And also congratulations on getting a microphone on the, I think you call that a Sun SDR. But I don't know. I assume you're not using it now, but maybe you are. But if so, it sounds really good. So, yeah, on the LK500 ZC, he gave me a box with a regular relay in it, and he said, this is the one, this was the original relay. But looking at the web, the model, the ZC model, is supposed to have a vacuum variable in it, supposedly. So anyway, I've just got to take a look at that. But anyway, let's see. I also picked up a Dentron 160-meter transverter for Charlie, W4MEC, and it came from Allen N3BJ, and so I have that in the car to get to Charlie as well. So, Steve, if you hear that Charlie's coming your way for any reason, let me know. Maybe we all can meet for barbecue or something. And John, as far as Jim encouraging you to buy the 5100B and the very nice and I think very rare the matching SWR meter. Anyway, we paid Jim on the side to do that, and it worked again. So we just got to keep doing that. It's certainly worth the money. And as far as Chuck having clothes at the Hamfest, I can vouch for him. He was my roommate, and luckily he did have clothes. So whatever happened before must have fixed itself. So. Anyway, sorry about the flat tire. That's no fun. And my Globe Champ kind of suffers from no grid drive with a lot of crystals, and the VFO is kind of erratic too. So I think I have kind of some grid drive issues too, Jim. I've got a couple of crystals that I know are known good in mine, and but I need to get in there and look around and see what changed value or something as well. So good luck with it. But it looked like a very nice looking transmitter. And let's see, John. I don't know if I mentioned. Thanks again for transporting the RME69 and the speaker for my neighbor John K4JCR from Tony, and he was very happy. He was very happy with it, by the way, and he said he's going to whip that receiver in shape. The speaker was, like you said, was in great shape. The radio, not so much, but it's certainly salvageable. And my neighbor John, he is a really good, patient installer, not like me. So, and that Electro-Voice microphone was really nice looking, John. I have one here that came with my Cubic Astro, so it's kind of a brown stem, if you will, but that's a nice microphone. So anyway, that's enough talking. Back over to you, Billy. KO4SSY and the group KN4R.
All right, Brian. I'm sure glad y'all had a good time. Yeah, I have to keep that marked up there every round we go. Get off somewhere and march around or keep up with your stuff. And it's a Callaway. Not a whole lot happened this part of the world. I've done too much with radio stuff here lately. Been too much other stuff going on. But at least I've got the two that I was fighting with for so long. I got them ironed out. So that kind of satisfies me for now. I've got the capacitors all in to start on that 129X. Start trying to get it live and back up, see if we can get the receive in on it, get it back up and running good. It's a nice one. Nice looking. Been able to get too much receive on it so far, but get it rekitted. Let's see what happens from there. Yeah, it seems like the ones I don't make were all them old stuff that RMEs and GRC90s and that sort of stuff shows up. Oh well, maybe the next one. No, I won't be agreeable. I was going to try to, but that weekend they're having a birthday party for me and the 2 grandsons, so that ain't happening. Yeah, let's see, what's after that? I guess Waynesville. Maybe Waynesville. Just keep saying maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I'll get to one eventually. Back over to you, Jim, KO4CTM. Yeah, I hope you figured out I seen that. I wondered who got home with it. That's a good deal. I really like mine. Wish now it's had some modifications done to it, tube-wise. But that's when I'm at the office. That's what I'm talking on. What I've heard of it, when I listen on SDR and stuff, it sounds really good. So hopefully you can get that up running and give you the same service. KO4CTM, KO4SSY.
KO4SSY in the group. Very good, Billy. Yeah, good evening to you, John. Fancy meeting you here. I've seen you probably more than I needed to today after going to the Hamfest and then having to come back and salvage my truck out of your driveway. Anyway, yeah, well, the flat tire, that's entirely my fault. I mean, the truck needs new tires, and I've just been putting it off, and I paid the price. But at least I managed to get basically into the driveway and didn't wind up halfway between here and there and on the side of the road. Let's see. Yeah, well, yeah, so the Globe Champion here is, I pulled it out of the case, and it's got a lot of new capacitors on the bottom end. I think there's been a lot of work done to it. The original 866As have been swapped out for the 3B28, so no problem there with the Mercury Vapor 866As, and I don't know. I mean, it powers up good and everything. I just need to start going through it and see what the, I downloaded the manual and whatnot, and I'll see what the deal is with it. But, like I said, just no grid power. So, looking at the manual, that pretty much points to maybe the VFO, the exciter. So, I don't know exactly what's going on in there, but yeah, I'll just have to go through it and see what happens. I don't have a whole lot of money invested in it. I think it was like 75 bucks or something like that, or whatever. So we'll see what we can do with it. Let's see. Yeah, Steve, the mic, that sounds good. I mean, I can't say anything bad about your audio this evening. It sounds good. I think you're doing well there. So, yeah, so I'll just keep rolling around. John, I appreciate the time today. Had a great time with you, and enjoyed the Hamfest and seeing everybody. And yeah, I thought the interesting thing was, I guess it was Mark that bought the payphone. He said he bought a payphone, and he was going to take it home and put it on the wall, and somehow or another the guy told him he could buy some kind of a box that phone would connect to, and he could use his cell phone and basically do calls through his cell phone, but, he'd have a payphone hanging on his wall. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So anyway, I'll send it on to you, Cliff. WB4NKL, KO4CTM.
Yeah, KO4CTM, it's WB4NKL. Yeah, that's, I seen I hauled back the pay telephone for Mark, and I told him he needed to get that set up. He could start charging, or make his wife pay to make phone calls if he could get it hooked up. Make a little money there on the side. But it was an early one. I think he's got a couple of the pay phones that had the push buttons, but this is an earlier one with the rotary dial on it. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. So Mark's got a lot of different collecting interest. Brian, it's a good deal on that Dentron converter. I bought that up at Berryville, I guess last year or maybe the year before, and then I sold it to Alan, and now Alan sold it to Charlie, so it's making the round, sounds like. I hope Charlie can make some use out of it. We didn't get back in here at about 6, and wife was cooking some hamburgers, so got back just in time for that. But that's a long trip over to Raleigh. We come back 421 over to Boone, and then we've got from Boone to home is about 75 miles of mountain roads. A lot of it's mountain roads. So it took us. We stopped over and needed a Cracker Barrel that wasn't very fast for lunch, and so we left over about 12 and got back about 6. But an hour or so was spent eating at the Cracker Barrel, and another stop for gas. So I guess we didn't do too bad. It was a good Hamfest. I didn't see anything that really tempted me. A guy there was a SX100 there that was pretty decent shape. It needed restored, but it was $50, and I had the restraint not to buy it since I already have 2 of them. And John almost found me some R390 meters. He found them, and before I could get over, some other guy was picking through the box and picked them all out, so I missed out on that deal. But we'll keep looking. You can't believe anything Mark or Chuck tells you. I mean, they're the pranksters, both of them. So it's a little tough traveling with them. Go ahead, John. W4JPL. It's WB4NKL. It's good to see you over there too.
Yes, sir. Let me adjust my frequency a bit. More. Alright, WB4NKL in the group, W4JPL. Fine business. Yeah, we all had a great time. Jim and I sure did, that's for sure. I'll tell you what, that was the busiest Hamfest I think I've seen in years, in terms of how many people are there. Surely it was the busiest Hamfest I've seen in years. Now, mind you, I didn't see a lot of stuff moving. I guess everybody's looking, but I didn't see anybody really buying anything. There were a couple things that kind of tempted me, but it's like, there was like this Polycom 2-meter rig that had my attention, but it'd be a shell queen because I'd probably never get it working. It's 2-meter AM, and what am I going to do with that, huh? And let's see, did anything else tempt me there? Not really. There was a little Radio Shack receiver there, a shortwave receiver that was $30. I looked at that kind of semi-seriously, but I said, what am I going to do with that? And I just passed up on it. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with today's turnout. As far as what I found, wasn't really expecting a BMW 5100B, but that's all right. I'll put that on the pile of things that need to be dude up. N4LQ in the group, W4JPL.
Okay, W4JPL in the group, N4LQ. Is there anybody else that'd like to check in? Okay, yeah, let me try an experiment here. I'm going to turn this compressor on. The compressor is now on. Just thought I'd give it a chance and see what it does, if anything. The threshold is kind of high. Let's see here. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and now I'm going to turn it off. If I can, there, it's back off. See what that does and get a report on it. anyway, let's see. The daughter, like I said, the daughter came down this weekend, and she was driving a new car. She had an old, broken down 2021 Lexus 350. So she came down with a new car. It was basically the same car, just a different color. I didn't even notice it. And this crazy thing, it's got a dashboard. It looks more like a computer. I mean, it's got a big old computer screen, about 14, 17 inches wide or something, and it fits in the dashboard nicely. It's good looking installation, and everything is touchscreen. Everything. I mean, the heat and the radio and all that stuff on that crazy screen. I'm not too sure about that. So I got a question. She was talking about all these different gadgets she has, and she says, well, I got the earpods, and if I ever lose my earpods, I can just get on my phone and it'll tell me where they're at. And I said, how does your phone know where the earpods are? I said, is it working on, Wi-Fi or what? And she said, oh, no, they can be in a different state, hundreds of miles away, and it'll tell me right where they're at. And she cited an example. This guy got off a plane and his luggage was gone, and he had a air tag, they call it. Brian, I'm sure you know what that is. An air tag, and you clip it on your luggage, or you stick it in your luggage or whatever, and it tracks your luggage. And so he got on his phone and looked, and it told him exactly where his suitcase was. It was outside the airport heading towards somebody's car. He went out there and called security, and security came and caught the guy. It was an employee stealing her suitcase, and it had an air tag in it. So it's the same type of thing. And I tried to make some sense out of what happens, but apparently these gadgets are using other Apple gadgets to talk to each other, and they're relaying the message back to headquarters, and it ends up back at your phone. So it's kind of I think they call it a Nest thing, and no matter where it is in the country, if there's a device somewhere around to attach to and send the message, it'll do it. So kind of weird what's going on. KN4R, N4LQ.
Yeah, okay, Steve. N4LQ in the group, KN4R. Well, very good. Well, first of all, the compression certainly worked. The audio sounded good either way, but when you had the compression on, everything was much more pronounced. The level of the audio went up just a little bit, and when you talked, everything was much more forceful than without it. So either way, but it sounds good. So I'm assuming you are on that Sun SDR thing you got from Richard. And let's see, John, I agree with you. The attendance was good, but you kind of had to drag in people to buy something, and there was a lot of gear. Like you mentioned the SX100. I forgot to go back on there was a nice HQ120 over there, and I don't know, maybe that was JP's stuff. He gave away a bunch of stuff, or had a bunch of stuff marked way down. Nick England gave away a lot more stuff. In fact, I don't think he even tried to sell anything, but he had a homebrew 813, pair 813 amplifier that I looked at it and I thought, well, it's going to take a lot of elbow grease, but I didn't get it. But I'm sure somebody got it. And I saw those R390 meters. I looked at them. I didn't think they had the right scale on them, but they were the right physical size. And that was the guy, I think, that had the R388 over there. And I saw them, and I thought about buying them, but I didn't, and I apologize. That was last night, anyway, and Roger, on the long trip, you definitely had a long trip there. And interesting that the transverter originally came from Berryville. This stuff kind of moves around between all of us, which is good. Then we all feel like we got something new. So let's see, I'm just scanning down here, and very good on Mark's payphone. with the rotary dial. That'll entertain a lot of new kids. And Steve, the AirTags, I think that's exactly what happens with an AirTag. Once it gets within range of another Apple device, like an iPhone, it somehow transmits a message through it, and so the AirTag doesn't have its own IP address, and you know, not on the internet all the time. But we have some AirTags here, but I think Kathy used one for one of her trips in her luggage. I've got a couple more AirTags here, but you have to pull a piece of tape off the back to turn on the battery. I haven't done that yet. I don't know what I'm saving them for, but yeah, it's a crazy world, that's for sure. And let's see, that's about it for me. So I'm going to keep it moving. So over to you, Billy. KO4SSY in the group. KN4R.
Alright, bro. KN4R in the group. KO4SSY returning. Yeah, I have to fool with technical junk too much with the job. All that air tag, air spy, and air this, and air that. I don't even like Apple stuff, really. I have their phone, and I have their computer, and I use it. It's very difficult to maneuver and whatever for someone that is as dense on that sort of stuff as I am, but they are about unhackable. That's why I use them. I use them so information don't get stolen, and have a lot of information goes through my hands with business and stuff. So I use it for that, but they are not as user-friendly, don't seem like, as the Macs, PCs, stuff like that, Android, whatever. But I just got tired of being hacked all the time when I had Android and that sort of stuff. It just was constant something going sideways with an email address or something else. I finally said flitter with it. Went with the other. And I can hobble my way through it, but I don't add no more to the pain than already there. I'm a pretty simple-minded guy, for sure. And back over to you, GMKO4CTM. Copying everybody pretty well. A little bit struggle with John, but for the most part I'm getting everything, so not too bad tonight. KO4CTM, KO4SSY.
KO4SSY in the group. Good deal, Billy. Yeah, I'm picking you up a little bit of static and whatnot between us. You're a little lower than everybody else, but that's just the distance. I think the conditions are pretty good, so I think it's just the distance between us. But yeah, I'm full copy on you, but just a little bit weaker than most. But anyway, yeah, well, I enjoyed the Hamfest. I thought it was really busy. Of course, this is my second Hamfest, so what do I know? But definitely enjoyed the ride down with John, and I appreciate that, John, and enjoyed the fellowship there, and it was good to see Brian and Brian and Cliff and Mark. That was all great, and yeah, so we'll just start working on the Globe Champion here and see what we can figure out. But anyway, I guess I'm going to say 7-3. Go in here and spend some time with the XYL, but I do hope that everybody has a great evening. It's a good night, good conditions more or less on here on 160, so enjoyed it, enjoyed hearing everybody, and I hope everybody has a good evening and a good rest of the weekend. I'm sure that the XYL and I will find some kind of some kind of craziness to get into tomorrow. Probably some antique stores or something. We'll find something to do. But anyway, I just hope everybody has a good rest of the evening, and I will talk to you soon. I'll try to get on here tomorrow evening, and if not, I'll talk to some Monday morning and others Monday evening. But I'll say 7-3 here from Climax. Everybody have a great evening, and 7-3. So on to you, Cliff, WB4NKL, KO4CTM. 7-3.
KO4 CTM, it's WB4NKL. 73's, Jim. Like I say, it's good to see you over there. Seen another 160 meter buddy, John, KZ4B. Talked to him a while, and we discussed livers and liver mush and scrapple, and had a good time with him. So I was hoping he might show up here tonight. But I don't guess there was anybody there else that I run into from the old friends group. John Weiner, he was there. Talked to him a while. I guess that was about it. My daughter took off they left yesterday for St. Louis, Missouri to go see the eclipse. So we're cat sitting. They brought the cat by there yesterday while I was gone, and so I've got a cat in here to entertain for a couple of days. I think they're coming back Tuesday. She called a while ago. They'd reached their bed. They're staying in a bed and breakfast out there, and they'd got there about the same time I got back home. And she was talking about the traffic between here and Nashville on 81 and 40 was terrible. And that's not normally a problem between here and Knoxville, so I guess this is all folks going to see the eclipse. So I'd say they'll have a good time coming home on Tuesday also. Go ahead, John W4JPL's WB4NKL.
WB4NKL and the group W4JPL. Fight business on everything and everyone. Copy on Billy's a little rough, but it's not unnormal, I guess you could say. It's normal on 160. I hear I'm fine on 2 meters, 75 meters. My brain's going foggy, boys. It's been a long day, like I said. Having said that, I'm going to say 73. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow night. I got to get up early and make a presentation at church tomorrow, so that'll keep me busy. In addition to my usual playing music. So, busy day tomorrow. 73, God bless you. Chat wheel. You'll be listening for just a couple. A4LQ in the group, W4JPL.
Okay, anybody else out there wants to jump in at the last minute? N4LQ.
November 4, Radio X-Ray Victor.
Okay, N4 Radio X-Ray Victor. Good evening to you. And my name is Steve, N4LQ, and I am in Shelby, North Carolina. So how are you tonight? Thanks for checking in, and we'll give you a turn here to say your piece. It's a little bit late, but we'll probably be winding down on this round. So go ahead and make a transmission, and then when you're done, just turn it back to me. Go ahead.
Well, thank you, Steve. I've not often on 160. It finally got a transmitter that would talk on it with a little bit of pep in its step, so I appreciate you saying hey to me, and don't hear a lot of folks yet. I got to get used to 160 and the noise it makes, and maybe get another SDR or something up and running so I can hear the rest of y'all, but I hear you quite nice. I did hear you on 80 earlier, but you had already bailed out, so I talked to Norm and the rest of them there, but for me, I guess today will just be a one and done since you're just about to wrap up anyway, but again, thank you for letting me get one of my first, not the first, but one of my first contacts here on AM 160. Thanks a lot, Steve. This is Joe in Georgia, November 4th, Radio X-Ray Victor.
All right, and before you run off, tell us what you're running, Joe.
Okay, well, I didn't want to hold you up there. I don't know what time you start and stop, but I'm on what is termed a 21V1 which is a transmitter, home-built transmitter that was built from some broadcast equipment, got some mod iron and stuff like that in it. It's a 4400 modulated by a pair 813. I have a Bogan audio amplifier here that I'm driving the 813s with. A little bit of Behringer front end on it to make it sound a little better and chop off the edges there. All that's running into a homemade antenna tuner, and ladder line homemade also into a 160 meter full wave loop, somewhat steerable. So I've got it loaded. I've got the feed point in the center of the football field shaped antenna there. So I do have an Alltech mic here that I'm using, hanging from a stage mic stand. But anyway, that's the setup here, Mr. Steve. And November 4, Radio X-Ray Victor.
Okay, Joe, yeah, sounds good. Real good audio, and I see your antenna here on QRZ and your pulleys and how you pull the antenna around to vary the direction. I guess that would make a difference on the higher bands, maybe not so much down here, but that's interesting. Maybe you can tell us more about that someday. Come back every night. We're here every night at 8 o'clock. And we try to operate AM unless the static is really, really bad. And in that case, we've been known to go to some other mode called sideband. Anyway, yeah, Brian, thanks for the information on those air tags. And I had never heard of the things until today. So that's intriguing. I don't know. Boy, I guess that's what they call the Internet of Things. Let's see. And KZ4B and his liver. Well, he's a connoisseur of livers of all kinds, I guess. Chicken liver, too. And he cleaned out Golden Corral the last few times we've been there. So he inhales them, I think. Anyhow, I'd say this is our 73 round, so let's go ahead and do it to it. And Brian, yeah, this is the Sun SDR that I'm on, and I did turn the compressor back on since I think you indicated you liked it better. So KN4R, N4LQ.
Yeah, okay, Steve, very good. N4LQ in the group, KN4R. And hello Joe, N4RXP. Glad to have you here with us. And come back. We want to talk some more about your big homebrew rig there, and also your steerable 160-meter loop. Sounds great. And by the way, we also have a net. Now we're meeting at 6 p.m. on Sunday. 6 p.m. Sunday on 3715, 3715. And we have some guys checking in from Georgia with that group, so hope you can make it and give us a shot tomorrow on that too. So, let's see, hold on. Yeah, very good. Gosh, I was going to say something and I forgot, but John, KZ4B can definitely eat the chicken livers, that's for sure. So, and Cliff, very interesting on all the eclipse traffic. I'm sure that's a real boon for all the folks that are living in the prime viewing area, like that bed and breakfast that your daughter's staying in. So hopefully it won't go cloudy on them and kind of mess things up. So anyway, I'm going to say 73s as well, and enjoyed it. And Joe, come back. And again, had a great day today. So Billy, back over to you, KO4SSY in the group, KN4R, 73.
Hi, Brian, 73's KN4R, and good evening, Joe. I hope you can hear me. I don't know if you can or not. You're running the beef, so I'm just on the Valiant, so it's good to hear you on 160. I hadn't been up on the Udden for a while. I share the tuner and antenna with this same setup I have to retune for the T3 to get on 40 meters, so I just get lazy and don't. So usually when I swap, I stay on one or the other for a few days, and I've been here for a while. But it's good to hear you on 160. I hope you can hear me. And here comes come back around. I don't make it in here every day. Wife's gone tonight to do a little shopping with the daughter, so give me a little more radio time. She gets fussy if I spend too much time up here, and so I try not to push it too much. That's going to get better with the daughter and the grandbaby back in the area. Give her something to do sometimes. So. Cliff, I don't know. I may try to get stuff around. If I can get to where I can get one of them transmitters unloaded out here somewhere, I got to get something done to where I can get stuff moved around where I can even put it. I got to get that blasted Bauer 707 out and take it down to Bayonet here pretty quick, sometime soon. That's probably where that one will go. I got to revamp and redo some stuff, get some sheds cleaned out or something, put some of this stuff where I can work on stuff. Darn, I got to get that from you, Brian, and I gotta stop. Y'all gave me this disease. It's all y'all's. It's Cliff and Curtis and you, Brian. So it's all y'all's fault. So y'all better bear the shoulder and brunt of it. So anyways, I love it. I just love it too much. So 7-3s, everybody. Have a good night. It's been a pleasure sitting here ratchet jawing with y'all this afternoon. And maybe well, Monday, I may talk Monday before I leave. I've got to go on the road again Monday to wrap up some last-minute stuff. One of my dealers couldn't meet me. He's been having health issues. So I got to go out Monday, and I got another dealer that ain't doing nothing. I've got to try to relocate. Anybody know anybody around Lawrence, South Carolina wants to make some money? I'll set them up. I can make some good money. They want to spend a little time. Good old retired guy, don't want to sit at home all the time, wants some extra pocket change to buy radios with. They can make some good money. If they want to push it, they can make probably $5,000-$6,000 a month pretty easy, and if they want to push it hard, they could do 10 or better probably. Anyways, let's see. I'll give it to Jim. I don't know if Jim got out or not, but he may have. If he did, I guess it's to you, Cliff. I'll listen to the end. I'm going to pass it to Jim, but if he's not there, pick it up, Cliff. KO4CTM, KO4SSY, 7-3.
Yeah, KO4SSY, it's WB4NKL. Jim signed out on the last one. Billy, I just found out about the latest one. I didn't know you ended up with the BC610 till Brian was telling me. So congratulations, sir, on another one. And I'm no hurry. Anytime you want to try to make the trip up this way, it'll be fine. Hello to Joe. If you copy down in Georgia, Joe, I'm up in East Tennessee, Greenville, Johnson City area, and running the Globe King 500. But your homebrew sounds great. And Steve, your audio with that compressor on is probably a little too hot. You can hear yourself taking an intake of air between sentences. You know, you hear your breath. I guess the compressor comes up there when you quit talking, and then when you breathe in, it's got the gain up, and I hear that, so might be just a little too much. 73s and enjoyed it. I think Joe said he's one and done, so back to you, Steve. N4LQ, WB4NKL.
Yeah, okay, well that way you know I'm still alive. I did reduce the, actually what I did was increase the threshold on the compressor, so that may have taken care of it. Anyway, whatever. Russian radios, pretty nice really. It's amazing how small this thing is. It's only about 6 inches square and about 3 inches tall, so it doesn't take up much room. It's been fun playing with it. Anyway, well, I guess that's about it for this evening. I would like to thank everybody for checking in with us, and hope you have a good Sunday tomorrow. And we'll be back at it tomorrow on 3715 at 6 p.m. Let's see, what is it? It is Sunday, and that's when Dave, WA4LLR, will be the network control. So, Joe, if you can make it, like Brian said, join us. I'm sure we'll be able to hear you quite well with that big antenna. 73s, everybody. N4LQ.
73. KN4R.
73.
Cliff, you still there?